Hey, Decathlon Gamer, welcome back to F1 Manager episode 67. We are heading to Sao Paulo for the Brazil Grand Prix, and yeah, I've been sitting on this one for a while. We have money in the bank, and it's accumulating rather fast, but the off season is such a slippery slope. Things really happen. Finances are necessary. If you're going to make rapid upgrades to the car, if you're going to have a good engine, you have to have money put away. You have to. You can't afford to spend just before the end of the season. So you've got to put something in the bank. At 42 million, well, it's more than what we need. I want to have about 20 million in the bank. 42 is a lot more than we need. I think we could easily spend 20, no problem. 30, 32 I think is the limit. So 32, design center, final upgrade. This is the big one, folks. This is the big upgrade because it's going to get us to 4 projects. Continuous, just upgrade. We're not going to have the wind tunnel time, but it's going to allow us, and with 5 more engineers, with 20 engineers, that's 5 per project, constantly on the go, all the time. That's big. That is big because you can really have a revolving door of some parts being upgraded. That is going to be incredibly useful. Well, anyway, here's the idea. This is going to drop us to 10 million. But if you look at the date, October 28th, turn of the month is right around the corner. We still have 2 races. So, we're about to add 10 million, and that would put us at 20. And then you have the turn of the month for December, and then into January. I think we're gonna just have enough after this upgrade. But the other thing, by doing it now and not waiting until, let's say, February or something, is it's going to be ready in 134 days, right? We have 2 months to go until January. We have multiple months until the start of the next season. This will get it done before the season starts or very early in the season. For that part, I think it's worth the risk of getting a little bit low on the finances. 4 days later, turn of the month, we're up to 14 million, so already closer to where we need to be. Like I said, at least 20 million is the target. Chassis research project is complete. We're going to roll right into another research project. Getting it in just in time to have it done at the end of the year before we transition into, next season. As a research project, the underfloor is kind of the hardest one to get in and get done. We do have hours to commit. We are committing hours to this one, and here is the results that we're looking at with a project that is going to get done on the 30th of December, right at the deadline, with 6 engineers on it, and only able to even, add a little bit more to a single area. What it gets us, just a little bit more top speed and acceleration, and 100th, less than 100th on average cornering, slightly more DRS, and about a percentage for dirty air cornering. In fact, less than for the medium and high speed. It's right at 1% for the low speed. But this is the kind of stuff that is ridiculously important for the car. So there's our first end of year project research wise, and we had just 3 days till we headed to Brazil. 2 days later, side pod research project is complete, so we're going to be able to get another one done, another one started and done in time. Here's how I navigate the end of year cycle when it comes to research and preparing for the upcoming season. So first off, I do assign the hours and kind of how much I want to put in to help the project, and you're going to get your basic information coming out of that one, which the front wing is what we're doing next, and with the brake cooling and double airflow impact, I mean, we're looking at 3/5 of what the front wing is being impacted by rule changes. So we definitely want to get one front wing research project in before January. But what I do is I do not go into the research focus area yet. I bypass it at the end of the season, and I switch from car performance over to summary and look at the date. But the engineers, you can see, changed the date pretty drastically. They cut 2 weeks off the project. So now, well, this thing's going to be done in early December, which is probably too short of a window to get another research project done. But remember, we had bypassed this screen. And now you're going to see brake cooling is the thing that is most impacted heading into next season. So why don't we cover that off? It adds days. It added 3 more days to the project. But we're still not yet to the end of the month. So let's go ahead and get the airflow. Now we're at 21 December. We still have time. So let's see which one can we... Research benefit is going to be better in medium and low speed, so let's improve that even more. Now it's 27 December. Still not the end of the month. I don't care about the cost. 28, 29, 30, 31. Last day of the year. Turning everything up. We make the car performance gains that much more. Still not 100th in low speed cornering. It's harder to make gains. But gains are still being made. And that brake cooling, which was so bad, is gaining 2%. And, that's kind of what we needed, right? Now remember, right now our design and research limit is 3 parts. That's 2 of them right up till the end of the year. We are going to have suspension research done in 13 days, so that's going to give us a window for probably one more project to take us to the end of the year. So possibly a rear wing type project, because that's the one area we haven't been to. That'll depend on whether we can get it done in time, and we'll throw all of the remaining hours that we have into that project. But we have 12 million and just one more project coming to the end of the year, so it's going to get us to January 1st, and it looks like we'll easily have the 20 million come January 1st. We'll see how much money we have left after purchasing engines and whatnot, because that was the concern. We're looking at a lot of rain for the weekend, but not as heavy on Sunday, so we could have varying conditions. And last year Albin crashed out early with the DNF, and Porsche finished 17th. Can't get much worse. Last car on the lead lap.
The carnival atmosphere has already started here in Sao Paulo as Brazil welcomes the Formula One Grand Prix. The Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache has been a staple of the racing calendar for decades, and soon we'll once again be watching the best drivers in the world give it their all. The Sao Paulo track is beautifully designed to present an enticing challenge for teams and drivers alike. Between medium-speed S-corners, hill climbs, and the high-speed section after Junsao, this circuit calls for cars to have a balanced setup to succeed here. This is it. We're down to the last few races of the season, and it's time for that final push. Who will be crowned champion at the end of it all? We'll find out soon enough. What will happen this weekend? Only time will tell.
Now we begin Q1. Sainz the only car out on track in front of us, and I think we're going to not quite catch up to him. Yeah, we're good. So our banker lap should be a nice clean one with Albin just marginally ahead of Porsche. We'll see how competitive that time is, and how much will be necessary. See, we're over 2/10 down on the Ferraris, but how do we compare with everybody else? Russell sandwiched in between us. Ocon's ahead, but Alpine's been awfully quick lately. And with a clean run, I really don't think we need to go out for to try to sandwich a third run. We really just need either that first or second run to make it work. Albin and Porsche, hardly a difference between them, yet there's already 3 cars sandwiched in the middle. So we're seeing really, really competitive times. Guan Yu Zhou half a second off of Porsche. And now we are getting some of those back markers coming in. It was not looking good there for a moment, but it's definitely looking better now as we're seeing a number of competitive times coming in a good half-second slower. Albin in 6th is looking pretty good. I think Albin might be able to get away with a second run on that slower set, but I do think that Pourchaire may need a fresh set for his second run just to be sure. Then again, we're a good half second ahead of the back 5, and I think that back 5 is going to be that back 5. Gasly. Yeah, let's save. We're going to save a set. I think we're going to get out of Q1 here safely. Let's hope that's actually the case, as we are going to take a chance with the used set for our second run. Albin is currently P6, Pourchaire P11. I think we could be heading for a Q3 type scenario. Albin first. Okay, Pourchaire second. And we are comfortably in space towards the back end of the field. We'll see how we do for this second run. I doubt Albin would improve his time, as it looked pretty good for the first one. Pourchaire could slightly improve his time, but I don't think those back 5 are going to improve much. Let's see, Guan Yu Zhou hasn't, Gasly hasn't. We're already ahead of 5 cars, so we are good. We are heading for Q2. Pourchaire does improve just slightly, so he definitely didn't put in his best lap time before on the fresh set, which is a good sign. We can get both into the top 10 on used tires. And as we start Q2, things are wet. They're not quite full wet conditions, but they're not far from it. But it looks like the rain is going to stop early in the session and then slowly dry out as we go on. So we should get a soft run in right at the end. So we're going to be watching closely that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and just get a banker lap in.
Copy.
And actually, as we head out, it's looking more like full wet conditions than it is. Potentially going to be dry conditions, but that's already beginning to lift. So we're at the height of it. It's getting a little bit better. As we run our lap, we'll see how many of these guys come out on full wets and how bad the times are and how rapidly this improves. We're already halfway around the lap. Let's go ahead and call in. It's 2.
Weather update, level 0 rain around the track.
Supposedly it's dry, but we are not getting dry conditions, so maybe we need to go out on full wets to get our banker lap there. We're supposed to have 100% accuracy for our weather report, and we are getting anything but. I mean, according to us, it's sunny, it's dry, but according to the track, it's getting wetter with time. I mean, pit road looks dry. Let's go ahead and use our used wets from practice and go get a banker lap that way. Now the track's starting to dry out. The rain has finally stopped. We are at the tail end of our lap right as the conditions are changing to intermediate. But from the looks of things, I don't think we're going to get a dry run. I don't think we're going to get a dry run in under these conditions. It just seems unlikely. It looks like we're going to still be on intermediates. Our lap so far already is better than most as we sit 4th and 5th. But you can tell that the track is going to get faster here towards the tail end of this run. Let's, for now, assume that we're going to be on intermediates for that run and get those ready. 5 minutes at a minute 14. 3 laps around. That's 4+ minutes. That's not enough to... Yeah, we're going to wait for the final run and see where we're at. For now, it looks like it's still going to be intermediates. The later you run, the faster you'll be as the track is continually drying. "45 seconds, so we're still going to cross the line in plenty of time, even though we're behind everybody else. And you can see we're now under 2 millimeters, so the track is continually drying. Alonso is going to be the first one done. He's at 1.85. Somebody has spun. Was that Hamilton? 1.84. So Hamilton won't improve his time. That means there's at least 4. It was a lockup. It was Hamilton. And as we come around, the track's 1.84. It's drier and drier than it is and was. But for now, we do need to improve our time. Verstappen is out. Verstappen has not made it out of Q2. He was one of the ones who must have been in pit road. Pourchaire goes 6th fastest, and Albon goes 7th. So we do make Q3. Somebody also has spun, but that was on their in lap. Bottas, Alonso, Hamilton, Verstappen, and Magnussen are out. Hamilton because of the lockup. Verstappen and I think Magnussen did not make a run. You could see how those guys are 4.5 to 6 seconds down compared to everybody else. There must have been 13 runners, not 12, because you're looking at 12 better times plus Hamilton. So I must have miscounted by 1, but yeah, wow. Verstappen, cocky, doesn't come out again. Magnussen probably trying to save the set of tires. So this time around, we're looking at 2 millimeters of track, water, and then same sort of scenario of rain early, drying the rest of the way, but because it's starting with a lot less track water, presumably there's going to be a dry run at the end. So the softs will come into play. Let's go ahead and get a banker lap on the intermediates just in case. Supposedly, we're supposed to get heavy rain in 4 minutes.
Okay.
So either it does and conditions don't improve, and therefore going first is going to get us the and then dry weather predicted. Which is it, right? Which is it? If it gets worse, then going first is going to potentially get us on the front row. If it doesn't do that, if it stays dry like it is now, it's stopped raining. If it stays dry, the track's going to get better and better, and we've just managed to get a banker lap in. Find out soon enough. We start our lap, and with 3 minutes to go, us, Perez, Vettel are going to be the only ones getting a time in before it's too late. Timed well. Pourchaire just ahead of Albon. Perez is going to be faster, half a second faster. So if the rain does start in a minute, we will not have pole, but we'll be row 3 or 4. And no, the rain does not come out. It brightens up. No, the rain does. Look. It says it's bright, but look at the track. Look at the track. Times are going to get worse, not better. We could be on row 2 here. There's no way that this is going to dry back out. That's approaching full wet conditions almost. You can see how much slower everybody is. And now it's full wets. Our weather report lying once again. I don't know what has happened with that. When we were at 70-80%, we were getting relatively accurate predictions for the weather. Since we've pushed it to 100%, it's wrong all the time. Looks like we're going to be starting from row 2. Perez will be on pole. Vettel will start from second position, but otherwise we are looking fantastic for the start of this race. There's no point going back out there. There's no way you're getting a lap in these last 4 minutes that's going to be anything better, as it is starting to dry out, but it's not dry enough. Times are going to be down. Times are going to be well down. I'm confident that times are not going to improve. The bottom end will, but not the top 6. See, none of the top 7 improved. The bottom 3 were the only ones that actually put in better times. And there you go. That is going to be a row 2 lockout. Wow, nice.
The time has come for these drivers to fight it out wheel to wheel. Race day has arrived.
Seeing how they did in qualifying, Williams are going to be the team to watch here. They'll be starting strong at the top of the grid and will have many opportunities to steer the race in their favor. The work Red Bull did during qualifying was nothing short of spectacular. Now let's see if they can repeat that for today's race. A sunny day here with only a few clouds in the sky. If things stay this way, the weather shouldn't pose any challenges to the teams.
As ever though, the teams will be paying close attention to their strategies as the race approaches. Here we go, folks. This is the Sao Paulo Grand Prix.
All right, so most of this race is going to be in damp conditions. So from lap 13 till somewhere in the low 60s, it's going to stay in intermediate conditions. That's at least 2 sets of tires that we're going to have to go through in that stretch. Maybe 3. We'll find out here in a moment. But then it looks like you're going to sandwich that with softs on either end if possible. Let's check what we have. I don't think we're going to get full wets at any point. I mean, you're actually keeping a decent amount of track grip throughout. It's not going to be terrible track grip. All right, so softs at the start. 13 laps is pretty doable. They won't go much longer than that, but that's enough to get us to when the rain comes. And the intermediates will just about hold out for one stop in the middle of the rainy period, and then back onto the softs and pushing till the end of the race for the last 8 laps or so, which is definitely enough time to not stay on intermediates if the track does dry out. As always, switching from dry to wet or wet to dry conditions, pitting at the right time is essential, which means double stacking. And when we are starting side by side, which it looks like we have been bumped up even further, one of those 2 cars ahead of us has taken penalties. So we are starting from P2 and P3 for this one, based on being front runners. It means we are probably going to be less than a second apart. So whoever is leading the way when it comes time to do the pit stops, there's going to be time loss. There's absolutely going to be time loss. But sticking it out and going another lap, if the rain's coming on heavy, could be a real problem. But we'll see. Maybe we're at an in-between state on a lap. Maybe it's at 0.8 something as we're coming around pit road in terms of how wet the track is. And maybe I'll pit somebody that lap early and have the other one push like crazy on that next lap and hope that it doesn't get too wet too fast and pit on the second lap. But as we've seen many times, the teams that bring one car in, that second car ends up 20-30 seconds down. But unlike a lot of races, this is not expected to be heavy rain at the beginning where it's going to rapidly go to really, really poor conditions. It could be a little bit of a transition where it's only gradually coming up, in which case there wouldn't be the kind of time loss there normally is. But I still think it's a bigger time loss than the double stack would provide.
Now we should have good weather for the race, and that will be welcome news for the teams. Looking at the Williams now. They're in second place on the grid, but that could so easily change in the first few seconds of the race. And then we've got Alex Albon. Starting in third place, they're in a really good position for this race. Will their hard work pay off today? And now, it's time for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go.
Vettel, the one carrying the penalty, has gone backwards. How far? I'm not sure. 6th. So looks like about a 5-spot grid penalty for him. But Perez is off the line first. He's on the mediums. So we have a chance to maybe get to the front, but I don't necessarily want to push like crazy. We're already at the front. We already have the track position. So getting further out front doesn't mean anything because we don't necessarily have pace. We're going to be holding the field up. Perez is half a second faster than we are, so we probably want to follow him. The race for who's off the line faster, though, for now, has gone to Albon.
You can afford to drop back.
But we continue on side by side for now. So we're going to settle in very early and just let them battle it out for who's going to get ahead. And it is Albin. Albin is ahead of Pourchaire for now. In fourth place is Russell, Leclerc, and then Vettel are the ones following behind. Verstappen all the way down in P11, having not gotten there through penalty. He got there through sitting out that last run in Q2 when things were ramping up. He wasn't even close to making Q3. And Albin overtakes Perez, but Perez is going to get right back past him. Very quickly in this race, settling in at the front. We'll keep an eye on gaps. Russell's a half second down, but nobody is out of DRS range right now. But Schumacher and Zhou towards the back end are struggling to keep within DRS range. As
it's a stonking lap.
Yeah, that's changed hands many times already. Battling it with Perez is actually just holding up everyone. And Albin goes into the race lead. Ocon, 8/10 down. If we can get out of DRS range and pull away from him, that would be ideal. Guan Yu Zhou has lost DRS, so there's the first further back train to form. Multiple cars have crashed. Sector 1, it's behind us. Ocon, Norris picks up the penalty, and it looks like it's an Alpine. It's Ricciardo, not Ocon, that has been collected. And the back end of the field is still struggling to get going again. Let's hope this isn't full safety car, because this is going to stretch the field. Oh, it had already happened. Norris, and then Guanyu picks up a penalty too. Oh, red flag! Damn.
Watch this. We're looking at Lando
Not
Norris.
the scenario we wanted. Yeah, see, they're coming in after the fact here. So that was Norris collecting Ricciardo, and then they're in the middle of the track. So then the Aston Martin of Stroll, I think, just clips him, and then Guan Yu Zhou slams into the back of that. Didn't see it. That is a fairly blind corner, actually. Okay, with 2 sets of tires remaining, let's go ahead and put on the fresh set, as you can freely change under red flag conditions, so we're going to do that.
Not for the first time today, the drivers are lined up, awaiting the lights.
And we go racing again, but this time starting from first.
And away we go.
And but this time we're not turned up, so we're not going to be off the line as fast because that was already preset. So turning that up now, we've already gotten off the line. Will we have an advantage? Will we stay ahead? And there you go. And that's hard compound now for Perez, so he has switched tires, and this could give us a real advantage where we could potentially pull away and get him out of DRS range over the next 5 laps and pit in with an advantage, as we are now running 1-2. Let's check in on the field. And we're already coming out with better fuel scenario than what we had with a positive delta. Guan Yu Zhou, looks like he has been able to repair the vehicle and get out there again. Norris is out of the race. And we're already, Albin's already more than a second ahead of Perez, and Pourchaire is just behind him. Pourchaire, go ahead and follow. We'll back off a little bit here. And we've got the fresh compound, so we can continually push with the tires. Perez now bordering 1 second behind. Remember, Red Bull, even though they're on the hard, they're half a second per lap faster than us normally. So getting out front because of the soft compound is one thing, but pulling away is another. And the interval is now more than a second. If we can get them out of DRS range, because it's on the straights where they're really faster, and get out of DRS range, that advantage. There we go. No DRS, no DRS.
That's a stonking lap.
So now we are properly driving away. And then I feel more inclined that the double stack can go quite a bit better. Also, another gap forming with Alonso 2 seconds down. Verstappen up to P8 now, by the way. I think that's because the crash happened in front of him. Poor Cher. Also getting up beside his teammate and moving into the race lead. By the way, it's going to be hard for anybody to beat that. Well, actually, you could beat that in the final laps when we're down to the soft compound for that final run. We are, for now, pulling away from the field. Leclerc also 1.7 back. Alonso 2.3 back. So whoever's leading, for now, it's Albon. When we come out, should still be leading. Especially with the gap we're pulling behind us. Whoever's second, with the double stack losing 2.5 seconds, is probably going to get caught up. But with little gaps forming, say Perez and Russell get passed because of pit box and the 2.5 seconds. But by then, there's enough of a gap that hopefully you're still out ahead of Leclerc and, you know, back on the track P1, P4, if not P1, P2. The more we can pull away over these next couple laps, the better. Still close, though. I mean, we're talking about 14 seconds from first to last. So this is not huge margins. They haven't really driven away, but we are driving away. And at 4.2, the double stack at 2.5 seconds.
Yes, okay.
The double stack, we should still be first and second. And that's why we're driving like mad right now, to try to get away from these guys. But we are about to fall below 60%. So we are going to lose some pace here. But relative to the hard compound and continually pushing, we'll see what that pace is like. Is it enough to at least hold the gap? Perez is getting closer, though. Albon with DRS goes back around. So he's going to push now. Gap now starts at Hamilton, who's gone around that group to get back up to P9. Remember, Hamilton had that problem in qualifying where he was outside of the top 10. And
Okay.
Albon.
Sorry,
Albon
guys.
just crashed out of the race.
Let's have a look. Now we see the
I didn't
Williams
see this.
here.
It's got to be turn 1. He locks up from the race lead, locks up, and goes straight into the wall and takes himself out. I don't think I've ever seen a lockup there take yourself out. Even in the heavy wet, you see those guys. There's such a long runoff there. That was very unrealistic. But Albon has taken himself out of the race from the race lead.
Yeah, P0, P0. Yep, copy.
And here's the rain. Rain is falling.
So
Okay,
it's
we're going to have to
raining,
watch
just
where
watch
we're
out.
at as we come around. We've got half a lap here to go. And we're at .3. Well, now we don't have to worry about the double stack, but my oh my, what a mistake there. It's coming up pretty rapidly. We're already at .6. I think we're going to be pitting this lap. .7, .8. This is the lap to pit. We've got 2 sets of intermediates, and we still have a fresh set of softs. Plus the set we started the race on that's only been, you know, used for about 5 laps. And there you go. Wet, damp conditions. Some of the cars are going to pit this lap. Some aren't. So we're going to be even further ahead of those guys. With a 4.8 second advantage and the race lead, things look really good for a Porsche. Not looking so good for Albon anymore. Wow, and a lot of cars aren't even pitting. Verstappen, Vettel, Hamilton, Alonso. Sainz the only ones pitting, so a lot of cars don't even pit yet. Porsche is not going to come out in the race lead. He's coming out in P5. That's 4 guys ahead of us that are going to be well off the pace. Wait a second. It didn't say safety car. It never said safety car. So these guys haven't pit yet, but we have a safety car. It never said that Albon was bringing out the safety car.
Gasly has pitted for new option. Okay, back off.
Okay. Are these guys pitting now? They stay. No, they're all diving in. So back into the race lead, but our advantage is totally gone. So Albon not only has screwed himself over, but he has screwed over Porsche as well. At least we still have the race lead. But the advantage of those pitting, those not pitting, the track space that we had, that 4.5 second advantage, and all of these guys waiting to pit another lap, like, we would have had a massive advantage over numerous cars. Now we're at least starting from first, but our advantage is completely negated. Safety car ending and the field is not fully bunched up, but most of it's here. And Albon, P19. We had a bad year last year. If you remember, we finished P17 and P20, and it was Albon who finished P20. It was Porsche who finished P17. Albon did not finish this race last year either. For now, Verstappen is P2 now. All those guys who didn't pit were at the front of the field and go backwards. So from out of the points entirely to only making a couple on-track passes, Verstappen is now P2. But he's more than a second behind. There is no DRS though. Okay, we're going to have to go standard. We're also going to have to go neutral before we burn everything out. But we have opened a nice little interval. And Vettel is also over a second behind Verstappen. We're going to continue to push on while we have fuel. Then we have this group at the back that never did catch back up. Verstappen has gotten around Porsche. Let's go ahead and see the replay of that one.
Now here we see Max
down the straight.
Verstappen.
Straight line speed, of course. So he had us. He had us by turn one. We hang on a little bit longer, but then you start to head down the second straightaway.
Make it look
And
so easy.
yeah, he easily pulls away with the acceleration advantage. Leclerc with a spin drops him to 14th and ruins his day. Our direct competitor, the Ferrari, in P6. If we do finish P2 today, that will lock up second place in the Constructors. Vettel over 7 seconds back and holding that train 3rd to 10th back. And he's got him to the outside, but he can't get by and ends up getting repassed. So Leclerc, coming around turn 3, Zhou had the inside and he was up beside him. He ended up tucking in, and as he tucked in, he ended up dropping back down and Stroll got by. So Leclerc goes back to the drawing board on trying to reestablish his position. But here on lap 30, we are just over a second behind Verstappen, so he's not really driving away from us, which is awesome. Leclerc with another spin, another mistake, and now he's way down in P14. A big crash, and it's Verstappen! It's Verstappen! Verstappen has crashed. Into the race lead. What are we going to have here? Is it just a yellow? Let's go ahead and see the replay. Verstappen all alone, obviously. And this has given us a real shot at winning this race. He didn't even lock up. He just mistimed his apex and ran wide and then took it right into the wall. Yellow flag's already cleared. Verstappen actually continuing on some ways behind us. About 3.5 seconds down, but we pit. we pit. It's a lap earlier than what I was planning on doing. It was kind of a just in case, but that's okay. That is okay. It's only a lap early. Now that front group is going to be out ahead of us, but they all have to pit. They're not staying on these tires forever. But I don't expect them to pit for a while yet. But you can see we're coming out behind the group and hopefully ahead of Schumacher. Can we get out ahead of Schumacher? That's better than expected, because I was expecting to only be ahead of Stroll. And it looks like we are ahead of Schumacher. Good. Okay, that gives us some clean air. And there's a little gap to those guys. Let's hope that when I do catch up to them that we're not catching up crazy fast. But there you go. So we come out in P9. But we are 8 seconds back of Sainz, the race leader. And we are clearly the number one guy now, as Verstappen is almost 9 seconds behind us. For him, it's kind of worked out. He still has a chance at winning this race, as he's going to have a definite pace advantage. And for us, I think we've largely kept up because of the slipstream. And we're good cornering, so we were able to just about keep up with him through the quarters. And then we hit the straights, and we'd get that slipstream. It's not DRS advantage, but it's advantage. The straight, the main straight. Yellow flag. Guanyu with a spin. He's also picked up a penalty, so let's see what happens. I think he's collected somebody else. It's a Ferrari. That's got to be Leclerc. He was coming up and trying to pass. He was trying to pass Leclerc, or Leclerc was passing him. Zhou had been ahead of him. We've already got past one, and Hamilton pits. So we've passed Ricciardo. Now we're trying to get... We gained 2 because Hamilton pit. So Hamilton pits, that's 1 position, and then we passed Ricciardo, and now we are pushing to try to pass Russell. We'll have a little clean air after that one. Oh, there you go. We have some room. We have some room as Perez, Ocon, and Russell all into the pits, so Russell gets out of our way. So we've already got around Ricciardo. We now have a 1.5 second deficit to Alonso. Vettel also still out there, and then Sainz, and this group has opened up some space. So we wouldn't have to take them on more than one at a time, at least. Schumacher is also still out there, so he is not pit yet. But then Perez is now kind of the front runner of those who have, I believe. Yes, those who have pit again. Oh, Verstappen. Hello. I didn't see Verstappen there. Yes, he's still in his strong position. How close is he now to us, by the way? 4 seconds back. 4 seconds. So we were, what, 7-8 seconds ahead? So he's already gained 4 seconds on us, and that's partially because of all this traffic. Which, by the way, traffic again.
And a new position.
And Vettel pits, so now it's just Sainz ahead. Ricciardo into the pits. One of the last cars left is Sainz. And Alonso. And Schumacher. Sainz, Alonso, Schumacher, and then Stroll and Leclerc still out there. Verstappen just 2 seconds behind us now. Like I said, we had not beaten him as of yet. Him being that far back wasn't that far. He still had a very good chance. And we've got some lapped cars coming out ahead of us. So we are going to have some traffic. Alright, checking in on the predicted weather. We're looking at about 10 to 12 laps till the rain stops. And then hope that the timing of his pit stop, or that we can get around Sainz here faster than he does. And now Verstappen gets up beside us, so we can't, and he's got the position. We're stuck behind Sainz. He's going to end up overtaking the both of us. And now tires are overheating. So yeah, that did not work out. Come on. This is the position. This is the place to make the overtake. Let's try again. Yeah, now you've got the inside. Come on. Come on, get up there. Get up. Again, we can't quite get alongside. Can't quite get alongside Sainz, but we do finally. We get through. And we are past.
Keep doing.
We are
what
past.
you're doing.
Let's hope that Sainz holds off Verstappen for a little bit to give us a gap. Okay, into the lead and pulling away from Sainz, who for now is giving us an advantage. Again, we're back out to 1.3 ahead of Verstappen. So while we can, we're going to drive away. But he's going to get him. He's going to get him on the next straight, isn't he? Yes, Verstappen has already gone around Sainz. So half a lap. Half a lap was all we managed to get advantage-wise compared to Verstappen. And Sainz is still out there. Sainz still has not pit. He's down to 24%. Alonso's at 24%. Schumacher's at 30%. Stroll's at 27%. I mean, what are these guys doing? Are they trying to wait for the track to dry out? I mean, it's way too soon for that. There's 10 laps to go. Perez, though, is the next car. And my oh my, is he getting closer. 8.7. And has pit already. And we're at 62%, so we're going to start to lose some pace relatively soon. Last time he had the lead, he made the mistake. But that mistake only ended up costing him probably 10 to 15 seconds. So realistically, he should be a good 15 seconds ahead of us right now. Yeah, Perez is getting closer. Alonso with the spin. He's now 5 points below Albon. He has the same pace at Albon. He's a little bit lower on tire wear, a point or two, but it's control. It's the the mistakes. It's the overtaking. But the biggest difference is the adaptability. That's where a lot of that 5 points overall is different, as we have a now lapped Aston Martin coming out of the pits. That's Gasly. He's a lap down. Sonoda. He's going to be fast right now, but less than 6 seconds to Perez now, so he is getting closer and closer. We're at 50%.
No rain expected. No rain expected.
Rain stopped, apparently. Yeah, we were halfway around when
DRS is enabled.
the transition started. 3 seconds back. Verstappen does not pit yet, so we are going to get at least a lap. Perez does. 2.776, and we get held up by the Aston Martin. The lap down Aston Martin Gasly, so we lose an additional couple of seconds here, as this is our chance to catch Verstappen, but I don't think it's going to happen thanks to Gasly. Gasly has, as a lap car, blocked us into our pit because his pit stop was slightly faster and his pit box position was better, and he blue flags and gets out of the way, but Verstappen comes out ahead. We are just inside a second. Do we get DRS? No, of course not. We were inside a second of the... Oh, there it is. Okay, we did get it. Well, that's going to give us a chance here. Perez, though, only 3 seconds down now of his teammate, not of us. Push on the final lap. Oh, he runs wide! He runs wide! He runs wide! We have the race lead.
Oh, they've run
But we're only 1.2 ahead. I know you saw it. Save it. Well, now we have to try to hold him off for 4 laps. But Verstappen with a second mistake, giving us every opportunity here. But he's so fast. Gosh, he passed us. He caught and passed us in a couple turns. He's too damn fast. But it allowed us to get closer, right? And with 4 laps to go, we've got a chance. This is only a race because Verstappen keeps making mistakes. Perez is 1.6 behind now. Ocon's too far back. Podium is secure, but are we even going to finish second? Are we going to finish third? Are we going to win this race? I don't know. It's lap 68. It opens a little gap there as we kind of tucked in after we had a look. So let's pull this back. Now lap 69. Whoa, what just happened there? Pourchaire over a second down. He's not gonna get DRS. He's not gonna get DRS. We went from 3/10 to a second down in like 2 corners without any noticeable mistake. But clearly Pourchaire took a bad line and lost time. Lost significant time. He is back within a second barely, but will he get DRS here? It's yo-yoing. We do. Oh, barely. It's lap 70 already, folks. So next lap is where we need to have it go. And just there, he goes, and we're at 60%. I'm not sure we're going to do it. I think we're more likely to finish third than take the win here. But turn that overtake on. Again, right over a second behind. And again, no DRS. We're 8/10 back, but no DRS.
That's your
The
last
detection
lap,
zone,
last
we
lap.
were just over a second back. Following below 60%. Full deploy. Actually,
Use
now
DRS.
it needs to be more about defense. We do get DRS here. This is going to help. Half a second behind, but I don't think we can get the overtake done on Verstappen, but I do think we can hold off Perez. I think we have enough of a gap there. Full attack.
So what DRS?
Final straight. For the finish. Battery's empty. Battery's empty. We're not going to get him. We're not going to get him, but we get up beside him. So close, but that's it. Verstappen takes the win. We finish a 10th down in P2. Pourchaire gets the fastest lap on the final lap, though. Perez, P3. Somebody with a mistake here on the final lap. Sainz, Hamilton. Sainz P5. Leclerc out of the points. So that is going to wrap up the Constructors P2 with one race to go. And that is going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Almost, not quite. Bye for now.